This is the AB4WS radio show. Every week, bringing you the exciting amateur radio news and information happening in the greater Cincinnati, Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana areas.
The AB4WS radio show can be found on the Apple Podcast app or your favorite podcast application. And now also available on the AB4WS radio show YouTube channel. On the evening of March 3rd, 2026, the Dan Beard Council Radio Scouting Committee, known as RSC, rolled into the Montgomery Troop 674 with antennas, radios, and lots of enthusiasm. About 30 scouts and 6 adult leaders gathered at the Church of the Savior in Cincinnati for what started as a regular troop meeting and turned into a STEM night on radio. Running under the Scouts' on-air call sign of K2BSA/8, the RSC team set up 3 radio stations and spent the next hour getting every Scout on the air, talking to people across the region, across the city, and right across the gym. The format was simple and it worked well. Scouts rotated through 3 stations every 15 minutes, each one showing off a different side of amateur radio. The gear alone turned heads. Military-style hard cases popped open to reveal HF rigs running off portable battery packs. Handheld VHF radios crackled with local traffic, and FRS walkie-talkies got passed around for a tactical challenge game that had the whole campus buzzing. One of the real highlights of the night was how many people from the ham radio community showed up to support the event. The Queen City Emergency Net jumped in at the last minute and allowed Scouts to use their club repeater, and they had operators checking in all evening. Robert Overstreet and the Milford Amateur Radio Club were supporters as well. On the HF station, Scouts made real contacts with Kitty, WATDA, Ben, KEATDE, Bob, W8NFM, Roy, KB9ORF, Ken, KC9CVO, Mark, KB7PKD, Rob, N8JMV, Scott Harshman, Ken Castile, JY Song, John Christopher, and Adam Stone, all volunteers who parked on the frequency just to talk to a Scout. Bill Stearns, NE4RD from K2BSA, and Rick Musselman, K9MSG from the Scouts on the Air were also key in making the whole thing happen. And in a pretty special moment, Michael, N2HTE, shared that he was an alumni of Troop 674, although his Troop 674 was in West Seneca, New York. Troop 674 was a great host and a great group to work with. The energy from the Scouts and their leaders made the whole night click. For RSC, this is exactly what the committee was built to do, to get radios in the hands of young people and show them that amateur radio is alive, relevant, and a whole lot of fun. Next up, the team is already looking to tighten up the format, smaller patrol groups, a real-time contact map, and a more polished frequency plan. Summer Field Day, June 26th and 27th, is on the horizon, and after a night like this, the momentum is there. Is your pack or troop interested in hosting a ham radio demo? The Dan Beard Council Radio Scouting Committee is actively looking to bring this experience to more Scout units across the area. They will bring the gear, the operators, and the fun. You just bring the Scouts. Reach out to them on their Facebook page or send an email to ke8bbc@arrl.net, and they will work to get your unit on the air. The next meeting of Dan Beard Council Radio Scouting Committee will be on March 17th at 7 p.m. at the Dan Beard Council Scout Achievement Center, 10078 Reading Road in Cincinnati, Ohio, room 438. They invite anyone interested in the program to join them in the meeting. Are you interested in ham radio? Well, 2 clubs in the Cincinnati area will be offering a one-day instruction in how to get a license. The day will feature an overview of ham radio, tutorial sessions on various topics needed to pass the exam, and a practical advice on how to choose a radio and put up an antenna. The session will take place on Saturday, March 28th from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. at the Red Cross Building, 2111 Dane Avenue in Cincinnati, Ohio. Participants will be expected to obtain a textbook and thoroughly read it. Instructors will not go over the book in great detail, but will instead attempt to answer any and all questions participants have. Much of the material is rather obvious in a close reading, so the instructors will concentrate on the technical sessions that may need further explanation. The textbook will be the ARRL Ham Radio License Manual, 5th edition. Please note that the FCC question pool changes on June 30th of this year, so the manual is good until that that time. There are many fine websites and information and practice exams that students can make use of. Once signed up, students will receive links and other materials to help them prepare. To sign up for this instruction session, please email hamtutor@ohkyin.org. This is sponsored jointly by two radio clubs, the Queen City Emergency Net and the Okian Amateur Radio Society. With the onset of the usual spring weather, it is important for all amateurs to be weather aware, and a nice addition to help you keep up on the weather happenings when things get dicey is the Kentucky Severe Storm Weather Net, held on XLX 721 Alpha Multimode Communications Network. Because of the increased weather history, the monthly scheduled net for the first Monday of the month at 8 p.m. Eastern Time will now become a weekly net for the next few months. This gives you a chance to check in and make sure your equipment is working so that when the storm hits, you are ready. There are multiple ways to connect to this multi-mode communications network. If you have one of the M1KE devices, just connect to XLX 721 Alpha. For DMR, connect your hotspot or connect the repeater to Brandmeister Talk Group 3121232. For C4FM radios, connect your hotspot to YSF Reflector 51149. There are two ways to connect the network by D-Star. Either connect DCS 721 Alpha or connect to REF 056 Alpha. For Echolink connection, go to KY4RW-L. This allows everyone to communicate with each other regardless of the mode you're using, and you can either hear everyone regardless of the mode they are on. This really neat system is a 24/7 except Echolink, which is only active for the nets. So check it out anytime. Thanks to Ray, KY4RW, and Larry, NN4H, for this neat system. It is almost spring, and you know what that means. The Flying Pig Marathon is coming to town May 1st through the 3rd, and Steve, NATFD, is looking for amateur radio operators to assist with the race administration and communication. If you can help out, reach out to Steve, NATFD@fuse.net. Congratulations to the new officers of the Grant Amateur Radio Club, President Joe Lee, KE8NRY, Vice President Greg Johnson, AB8GJ, Secretary Roger Suhr, WB8HRW, and Treasurer Dan Pelzer, KE8TTQ. Congratulations. This year, in celebration of the 250th anniversary of the country, the ARRL has kicked off the America 250 Worked All States operating event. Each state will have 2 weeks of using the W1AW call sign with their call sign district. This week, March 11th through March 17th, will be Virginia, W1AW/4, and Guam, W1AW/KH2. From March 18th through the March 24th, it'll be Hawaii, W1AW/KH6, Kentucky, W1AW/4, and Minnesota, W1AW/0. For more information on this event, go to ARRL.org/America250-WAS. The Dayton Hamfest is just around the corner, May 15th through the 17th, and the Toledo Mobile Radio Association is getting ready to make the trip easier on you from Toledo, Ohio. They are getting a bus that will leave at 727 Lime City Road in Rossford, Ohio at 5:30 a.m. on May 16th and travel to the Hamvention and return that evening. For more information and to register your seat on the bus, go to w8rp.org/DaytonBus2026. On March 14th at 1 p.m., the Brunch Bunch will be meeting at the Sugar and Spice, 4381 Reading Road in Cincinnati, Ohio. Join them for brunch and ham radio. On March 16th at 7 p.m., the Northern Kentucky Amateur Radio Club will meet at 7 p.m. at the Bethesda Community Church, 989 East Mount Zion Road in Independence, Kentucky. Everyone is invited to hear the exciting program. On March 21st at 9 a.m., the Northern Kentucky Amateur Radio Club invites anyone interested in amateur radio to come out and meet them for breakfast at the Golden Corral, 4770 Houston Road in Florence, Kentucky. On March 22nd from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. at the Cannon, Indiana Volunteer Fire Station, 8881 North Cannon Main Street in Madison, Indiana, they'll be celebrating Earl Buchanan, KB9DDO, 90th birthday on March 21st. Earl is an extra class operator. Happy birthday, Earl. On March 23rd, the Amateur Radio Emergency Team of Northern Kentucky, KY6ET, will be meeting at the Bethesda Community Church, 989 East Mount Zion Road in Independence, Kentucky. The business meeting is at 5:30, but come for the special presentation at 7 p.m. by Brad, W9FX. The Kentucky Summits on the Air Group is hosting a 4th annual Kentucky Campout on the weekend of March 28, 2026 at the Kingdom Come State Park in Cumberland, Kentucky. They will host a pancake breakfast at 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Sunday morning at the Upper Pavilion in the main camping area. Make sure you make your campground reservations by calling Sherry 606-589-4138 or email at sherry.cornett@ky.gov. Also email Michael, N4DCW, the Soda Kentucky Association Manager, at MICHAEL at N4DCW.com to RSVP for the attendee roster. Up-to-date information can be found at reflector.soda.org.uk/T/2026-Soda-Kentucky-Campout/39146. On Thursday, April 23rd at 6 p.m., there'll be a National Weather Service Weather Spotter training class at the Grove of Springfield Township, 9150 Winton Road in Cincinnati, Ohio. Behind the fire station, registration opens at 5:30 p.m.
Repeater news.
Are you looking for the most up-to-date list of repeaters in the greater Cincinnati area? Well, I have an Excel spreadsheet where I've listed repeaters that are active in the area, separated by tabs for each band or mode, so you can easily look for just DMR repeaters or 2-meter analog repeaters and so on. The list includes 2 meters, 220, 440, 6 meters, D-Star, DMR, C4FM, P25, and some other classifications. Every time I update the file, I include the date and the file name so that you know you have the latest update. To download the file, go to the AB4WS Radio Show Facebook page and go to the file section and download the file. If you're not on Facebook, email me at ab4ws.radio@gmail.com and I can email you the latest file. If you see any errors, problems, additions, or corrections, email that information to ab4ws.radio@gmail.com. The Highland Amateur Radio Club has changed PL tone on their repeaters in Greenfield, Ohio. The 146.685 and the 444.775 both have a PL tone of 100 hertz.
Hamfest.
March 15th from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. is the Toledo Mobile Radio Association Hamfest at the Owens County Community College Student Health and Activity Center, 7315 Championship Drive in Perrysburg, Ohio. For more information, go to w8hhf.org/hamfest. On March 28th from 8 a.m. to noon is the Columbus, Indiana Hamfest at the North High School Cafeteria, 1400 25th Street in Columbus, Indiana. This is an all-indoor flea market with hourly door prizes, free parking, food and beverage purchases to benefit the Boy Scout Troop 549 along with VE testing. April 11th is the Cuyahoga Falls Amateur Radio Club 70th Hamfest at the Media Open Sons Expo Center, 48 East Bath Street in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. For more information, go to cfarc-hamfest.org. April 26th is the Tusco Amateur Radio Club 2026 Hamfest Computer and Electronics Show at the Tuscarawas County Fairgrounds, 259 South Tuscarawas Avenue in Dover, Ohio. For more information, go to w8zx.net/Hamfest. April 26th is the Athens, Ohio Hamfest at the Athens Community Center, 701 East State Street in Athens, Ohio. For more information, go to ac-ara.org. May 2nd is the Lucas County Amateur Radio Emergency Service Hamfest from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Merchants Landing Bingo Hall, 6182 Summit Street in Toledo, Ohio. The granddaddy of all Hamfests, the Dayton Hamvention, will be held May 15th, 16th, and 17th at the Greene County Fair and Expo Center, 210 Fairground Road in Xenia, Ohio. For more information, go to hamvention.org.
Are you looking to upgrade your license? Do you have someone else that's interested in the hobby? Here are some upcoming exam opportunities.
The Milford Amateur Radio Club holds amateur radio testing on the third Thursday of each month at 6 p.m. at the Miami Township Civic Center, 6101 Meyer Drive in Milford, Ohio. Please pre-register at milfordhamradio.org. The Dayton Amateur Radio Association has exams frequently. For their exam schedule, email exams.w8bi@gmail.com. On March 14th at 8:30 a.m., the Stark VE team will hold an amateur radio testing session at the St. Paul's Lutheran Church, 127 Cherry Road in Massillon, Ohio. For more information, call 330-832-0609. On March 16th at 5:30 p.m., the Northern Kentucky Amateur Radio Club will hold an amateur radio exam session at the Bethesda Community Church, 989 East Mount Zion Road in Independence, Kentucky. You must register by going to hamstudy.org/session/NKY-VE. On March 24th at 6:30 p.m., the Cuyahoga Falls Amateur Radio Club will host an amateur radio testing session at the Cuyahoga Falls Public Library, 2015 3rd Street in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. For more information, email education@cfarc.org or call 330-929-8921. Special thanks to this week's content contributors: KE8BBC, KY4ROD, AC4HI, KD9EYU, WB8VNH, KY4GW, WB8YYS, KD8ZLD, K9HIO, N8LAR, K4NKU.
If you have something you think other amateur radio operators in the area would be interested in, send the information or your recorded audio file attached in an email to ab4ws.radio@gmail.com.
Covering your amateur radio news and information in the greater Cincinnati, Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana tri-state area. This is Jack Prindle, AB4WS, normally in Big Bone, Kentucky, but this week coming to you from Port Charlotte, Florida.